Aaron Lee is a people strategy consultant. He works with large organizations as well as small organizations, uses some really cool tools and technologies. We're super excited to have him on the show today. Thanks, Aaron, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Charlie and Steven.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you. So tell us, how did you get into people strategy and specifically what you're up to now?
When I was on staff with a nonprofit a few years back, I joked with our marketing director at the time that because of what we were seeing from leaders, we could have written a book on how to lead based on the challenges we had seen. And one of the great aspects in my career was being in multiple roles where we had lots of partnerships across all sectors: government, local, state, federal, large and small nonprofits, the business community. And I would get up close and personal with these organizations and see, hey, you have a great mission and you could be absolutely killing it right now, and you're not. And as you start to press into that, you see some of the people challenges. They've got a great mission, but parallel to every great mission has to be a people strategy. And so as I got into this work and started to uncover what it takes to truly increase a team's performance and make a team come alive, I started to come alive and get excited about the potential that I was seeing in the teams I was working with.
So with people strategy, I always struggle to get very, very tactical and tangible. So let's do it. Let's get very clear about, what does this mean? How much is this costing organizations? What's the opportunity?
The global network of consultants that I work with runs a team performance assessment, and thousands of teams have taken this across industries and around the world. And the average team scores at 60 or less out of 100. Now, this year's Gallup Workplace Survey, you start to crunch the numbers together and realize that for every team you have in your organization, a low performing team scoring at 60 or less is costing your organization at least $200,000 in lost revenue. That's comes from a variety of factors. You've got underperforming, missing your goals, missing your mark, some of that drama and inward tension you have within teams. All of those dynamics also lead you to increased turnover. So when you pile all of those factors on each other, you start to see where this exorbitant cost is coming from. And so for any business leader, I say, imagine just one team, if you could increase your revenue by $200,000. For most business leaders, they would say it would transform their business, just one team alone.
That's super helpful. And I feel like I've seen that and I feel that, but I've never quite heard it expressed so quantitatively. So thanks for sharing that, Aaron. That's really helpful. So to get super tactical, could you show us one of the tools that you use?
Yeah, so let's look at our team performance metric. That survey I just talked about, that most teams score 60 out of 100. Here's where this comes from. And so you see on this wheel, these 5 factors. Now here's what we most often see with teams. You see the 2 wedges at the bottom, alignment and execution. We kind of joke that with laughable predictability, when a team runs into a challenge, they tend to go to alignment. Who is a new leader we need to bring in? Who's the team leader we need to change out? Maybe it's putting together 2 teams, pulling 2 teams apart, some sort of reorganizational tactic that comes out of alignment. And then the team tries to start executing again. And this pendulum swings back and forth between these 2 components. But when you see this whole team performance tool, you see there's 3 other segments to a high performing team. And the way I describe this is, this isn't a pendulum swinging back and forth between these 2. We truly have to pull back to the top, to communication, and establish clear, direct, objective language in our workplace that we all know what we mean when we say certain things in the workplace. And then out of that clear communication, we build healthy relationships. Then we can get to alignment and execution and start building to increase our capacity. And when we do this, we turn from a pendulum to a flywheel, and the momentum builds in the team performance increases, and all of a sudden we're realizing the benefits of that $200,000 problem. Now, culturally, you think about communication and relationships. What does this look like? Here's the one other tool that I love most. So here's what we call the support challenge matrix. You see the y-axis is support, the x-axis is challenge. All of us are wired to either bring support or bring challenge naturally. Support is those people on your team who are very relationally driven, very encouraging, very uplifting. But if you think about it, if you only ever speak in that kind of encouraging, uplifting way, then we miss the mark of what challenge brings in, that we're raising the bar of expectations. We're meeting goals, we're meeting deadlines. Now, the flip side, when you only bring that challenge, you end up creating this culture of fear and manipulation because nothing's ever quite good enough. If we only bring one or the other of these, we're not fighting for the highest possible good of our team. We're not reaching that place of true empowerment and potential, which is what we call the liberation quadrant. So for me, naturally, I bring challenge all the time. I always want it better. I always want to increase our outcomes, meet our goals, and do it better every single day. I have to balance that with the relational side of support and encouragement. And when I do that, I get to that liberate quadrant, which we say is fighting for the highest possible good of those we lead. And when you have a team culture that is focused on that liberate quadrant, that's just one step along the way to increasing your team performance and increasing that low performance number so you can start bringing results to your business.
That's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. It's so helpful to have a framework through which to discern sort of how the team is performing. We are all about navigating new territory here, and so I'd love to hear from you on both either a personal or a professional level, what new territory you are navigating.
Yeah, it's really interesting that, as I talked about, for myself, always trying to raise the bar and do better. What new territory can I navigate? And so here lately, I've really doubled down and had two really exciting opportunities. One, I just launched a radio show on IBGR, an international business radio network online. So our platform is fully internet-based, broadcasting in 4 regions around the world. And it's been really awesome to take this message to a weekly audience and have that conversation. And the show is called The New Generation Leader, which is also the title of my book coming out here soon. I'm really excited about a simple, succinct look at what it means to be a leader in the digital age. We talked about the technology that I'm using with teams. We're bombarded with some of these advancements, but there's also a shift from the industrial age to the digital age. And so how do we bring our best as leaders? And so it's a quick read, but a very succinct look at trying to reorient our leadership development pipeline. A lot of times we don't think about that pipeline until we've got somebody in a position and then realize what skills, tactics, traits they're missing that we need to develop. So it's thinking about how do we reorient that, build up these new leaders on the front end and help them be aware of the wide world we have out there, how many ideas, perspectives there are, and how we think about liberating and fighting for the highest possible good of the people we're leading. So I'm excited for that to hit the shelves sometime soon. And it's been a really exciting journey to breathe life into that project.
I love it. Author, consultant, speaker, radio host. What does he not do? It's amazing. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel like you have a unique way of talking about people strategy where it's both caring for people and creating organizations where people can flourish, and also taking people strategies that benefit the business itself financially and strategically. So very cool bringing all that together. Thank you again for joining us. Thanks everyone. And until next time, see ya.